Okay, so you guys all have your towel. What you're gonna do is so I don't actually have a mat here that I'm working on, but if my mat were laying this way, you're gonna lay the towel perpendicular to it. And the towel, some of you guys know this, have done this with me before. The towel is gonna go right sort of where your bra strap would be, so underneath your armpits. You don't want it in your lumbar spine. You want it up a little bit higher, and you're just gonna lay back over it. So your armpits will be on the other side of the towel, like so. And then you just extend the legs out. And let me know if anybody has any questions about that. It should feel really nice. Awkward is okay, but uncomfortable isn't. So just pipe up if you are unclear. And I'm going to mute everybody too so that we don't get a whole lot of feedback here. Okay, so laying back on your rolled up towel, just go ahead and close your eyes. And just take a couple minutes to get yourself really settled into this position. This is what we call a passive heart opener. So passive because we're not doing anything to make it happen. It's just gently opening up the heart space. So allow your body to just get really heavy here against the floor. Shoulders are falling down toward the floor. The shoulders may be a little off the floor because of where the towel is situated. And start to connect with your breath. Trying to let the breath originate from the belly space. So with every inhale, taking in a nice, big, full belly breath. And then on the exhales, starting to let those really slow down. So allowing the breath to just become the center of your attention. Letting the body be really still and quiet except for that movement of the breath in the belly. And even though the breath is coming from and originating in the belly space, notice that opening across the heart. So the collarbones feel really broad and expanded, and the arms feel open. So there's just a sense of openness to this, a sense of receptivity. So we're going to do a heart opening class today, some back bendy type of stuff. So just let this feeling imprint into the body, this feeling of openness. Taking a few more moments here. Every exhale, just feel the body sinking deeper into the floor. And with every inhale, tap into that expansive feeling through the chest, that openness. Just a few more moments here. Again, just using this time to tap into that inner quiet, that inner calm. And then from here, Gently roll to one side, doesn't matter which side. We're just going to take the rolled up towel out from underneath you, and you can just set it aside and then come back onto your back and bend both knees. Bring the arms straight out to the sides, the left and the right. Feet are fairly wide apart. We're going to take a nice big inhale here, and on the exhale, drop both knees over to the left. Just moving with the breath back and forth. So we'll inhale through center, and then exhale over to the right. A couple more times. Inhaling as you come up, and exhaling over to the left. Loosening up the low back and the hip joints, inhaling through center, and exhaling to the right. We'll do one more each side. Shoulders should feel like the stability point, so heavy and stable on the floor. And just letting the movement in the legs and the hips be really fluid and soft. Last exhale over to the right. And inhaling back through center. And once the knees come center, just hug both knees up to the chest. Without rocking, just pull the knees up as tight as is comfortable. And then gently bring the forehead up to the knees. And just curling into a really tight ball. And then releasing that. And find your way up to a seated position. You can come forward and back, rocking, or you could turn over to one side and come up to a seat. And just find a gentle cross-legged seated position. You have the towel handy, so it's always nice. I always recommend in these seated positions to sit up on something, even if it's just a little bit of a lift. It's helpful for the low back. And then from here, we're going to bring the forearms together like so. So from elbows to fingertips, pressing together. And we're just going to get a little bit of movement in the spine with the arms here. So on an inhale, you're going to open the arms and open the chest, tip the head back. So you're arching the back here. And then on the exhale, we're going to pull the forearms together, tuck the chin to the chest, and round the spine. So it's like cat-cow movement. Inhale, open the arms, little squeeze of the shoulder blades together as you open the throat. And then on the exhale, we're squeezing the forearms together, tucking the chin. You can tuck the tailbone under. Do two more like that. Inhale, arching and opening. To really get the whole spine moving here. And on the exhale, tuck the tailbone under as you tuck the chin in. Really round the spine and squeeze the forearms together. One more like that. Big inhale, open across the chest and the heart. And then exhale, rounding the spine, curling everything inward. And inhale, just come to neutral, release the hands. We're going to come to a side stretch. So walk the left fingers out to the left. Take a big inhale with the right arm coming up and over. Try to keep that right hip heavy, so don't let the right hip come way off the floor here. Keep pressing the right hip down as you reach the right fingers in the opposite direction. So really opening up the ribs on the right side here. And let the head just be wherever is comfortable. You can let it hang. You can look down if that feels more comfortable. But find that big breath in the belly space. We're going to take one more nice big inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to sweep the torso and the arms forward, coming into a forward fold. Let the spine round. Let the head hang. And then slowly roll up through the spine, and we'll do the other side. So walk the right fingers out to the right. Take a nice big inhale, left arm coming up and overhead. Again, keep that left hip heavy and reach through the left fingers in the opposite direction. And just breathe really big. Always, I recommend to close the eyes whenever possible in the yoga practice. Just helps tune inward a little bit deeper. Take one more big inhale here. And then again on the exhale, we're going to sweep the torso and the arms forward, coming into a forward fold. If the head can touch the floor here, great. If not, that's okay. Just let the head hang. And then slowly roll on up. the tall spine. And then from here, we'll come over to the hands and the knees, coming into tabletop position. Little cat-cow, and we'll do a couple variations here. So basic position, make sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders and your knees are right underneath your hips. And then with the breath, big inhale, we'll drop the belly and lift the head. And then on the exhale, tucking the tailbone, rounding the spine. Make this all about the breath. Huge inhale, opening the front body, opening the throat. And exhale, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone, little push of the hands into the floor, spreading the space between the shoulder blades. Big inhale, arching and opening, and exhale, rounding and curling. Now we're going to add some leg movement in. So we'll start with cow, big inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the head. And on the exhale, bring the left knee to the forehead and round the spine. Now inhale, extend the leg out back behind you, straighten it, lift the head. And then same knee to forehead, rounding the spine. So get the spine moving in there, along with the leg movement. Huge inhale, stretch the leg, lift it, open the throat. Exhale, knee to nose, curling in. Last one, inhale, lengthen. And exhale, bring the left knee to the floor. Keep exhaling as the right knee comes to the forehead. And inhale, straightening and lifting the leg, so arching the back. And exhale, rounding the spine, curling in. Again, lengthening. Just try to make yourself as long and open as possible. And then as you exhale, curl yourself in and make yourself as small as possible. 2 more. Inhale, lengthening. And exhale, rounding. Last one. Arching and opening. And this time just bring the knee to the floor. And let's push back to extended child's pose. So knees are wide, toes are touching. Push the hips back to the heels. And let the forehead come to the floor. And just let everything soften here. So you really want to release the forehead down. Let the upper body be heavy. The hips are heavy to the heels. So there's a feeling of reverence and surrender in child's pose. And again, here, keep the hips heavy toward the heels as best you can, and try to walk the fingers forward a little bit more. Find as much length as possible. And then spread the fingers wide, press your palms into the floor. Try to keep the palms exactly where they are, and just pull your shoulder blades down your back. That is, in effect, lengthening through the ribs a little bit more. And then from here, let's inhale up to the hands and the knees. We'll curl the toes under, and on an exhale, push back to downward facing dog. And just take these first couple minutes in down dog to move any way that feels nice. If you want to pedal one leg out, then the other. Moving the hips a little from side to side is sometimes nice. Dropping one shoulder a little lower to the floor. Whatever feels good. And then find a little bit of stillness in the pose. Fingers are spread nice and wide, so really let the weight disperse forward into the knuckles and the fingertips. And then almost like you're trying to push the top of the mat away from you. So lengthen the armpits away from the hips. The heels are gently reaching toward the floor as the tailbone is reaching up toward the ceiling. So find as much length in the spine as possible. From here, we'll take a nice big inhale and come forward to plank pose. Couple breaths here in plank. Strong through the legs. Press the heels toward the wall away from you. And push the hands into the floor. Take a nice big inhale here. On an exhale, we'll drop to the knees and come all the way onto the belly. We'll do a couple of cobras with breath. So the legs are strong and straight. The hands are right underneath your shoulders. Big inhale as you press the hands down, lifting the chest and head. And exhale, release. do that 2 more times. Inhale up and exhale down. This time we'll hold for a breath or two. So inhale up and stay for the exhale. Inhale up a little higher if you can, and exhale, release. Good. Let's inhale up to the hands and the knees. Curl the toes and exhale back to down dog. And again, just hold for a breath or two here. Use these moments in the poses to feel what's happening in all the individual parts. Feel what's happening on a whole. Feel your breath. Endeavor to keep that same smooth breath that we started class with. From here, let's walk the feet up to the hands. Coming into forward fold. Just let your whole body fall forward. A little bend to the knees just to help create space in the low back. We let the arm bones hang, let the head hang. And then bend the knees a little bit more and let's slowly roll up to standing. And we'll come into mountain pose. So your feet can be big toes touching or a little bit wider underneath the hips, whatever feels nice for you. And just close your eyes for a moment. Feel the soles of your feet pressing firmly into the floor. Feel the breath moving from head to toe, soften the shoulders. And then we'll do a couple different versions of just our basic sun salutations here. So first version, we all know, inhale, arms out and up. Palms meeting at the top, and exhale, we'll just forward fold all the way down to the floor. Half lift, long flat back on the inhale, and exhale, refolding down. Rise up to standing, sweeping the arms out and up. And exhale, hands coming to the heart. We'll call that version 1. Now version 2, inhale, arms out and up. And on the exhale, hands are going to come behind the back, interlace the fingers. Inhale, stretch the arms as best you can, lift the chest. And now exhale, bend the knees, forward fold, bring the arms up and overhead. We'll release the hands, sweep the arms forward and up, rising up into a little baby back bend here. And then on the exhale, bring the hands back to the heart. Back to version 1. Inhale. Make this all about the breath. Huge inhale. Exhale all the breath out as you forward fold. Long flat back on your inhale. Refolding on the exhale. Rising up to standing, sweeping the arms out and up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Second version. Inhale. And hands come behind the back on the exhale. Interlace the fingers. Inhale, stretch through the arms and lift the chest. And exhale, bend the knees, forward folding, arms overhead. Release the hands, sweep the arms forward and up. And exhale, hands back to the heart. Good. From here, interlace the fingers. Take a nice big inhale and press the palms up toward the ceiling. Stay here for the exhale, ground the feet down. Again, inhale, lengthen through the side body, and then exhale, we're going to side bend over to the left. So the right hip may jut out a little bit, that's okay. Try not to lean forward though, make sure you're bending straight over to the side. Big breath here through the right rib cage. Next inhale will come through center. Stay centered for the exhale. Ground the feet. Inhale, lift and lengthen, and then exhale over to the right. And again, find that big breath. That's it. Next inhale, we'll come back through center, and then release the arms on the exhale. From here, we'll come to low lunge. So the right foot's going to come forward, left foot back, knee down, arms coming up. Or if this feels more supportive for you to have your hands on your knee, that's great too. Arms coming up or hands on the knees. Either way, really press that front foot down into the floor and find that counter lift up through the arms, through the rib cage, and find your breath here. Again, try closing the eyes just to see, experiment with how that feels. Notice that it just takes the experience inward. So really opening up this back hip flexor here, but find a little lift up through the pubic bone and the belly space. From here, we're going to come into a little bit of a twist. So we're going to take the right hand around behind the back. Take a nice big inhale here, and on the exhale, the left hand will come to the outside of the right knee, and we'll just open the shoulders toward the right any amount. You can look back over that right shoulder if that feels okay on your neck. However far you twist is not as important as keeping a lift through the spine. A couple more breaths here. And then we'll take a nice big inhale and release the arms up. Exhale, hands coming to the floor. We're going to curl the back toes under and lift the back knee up, coming into runner's lunge. Try to lengthen through that back leg as much as possible, pushing that heel toward the wall behind you. From here, you're going to plant the left hand down on the floor. We're going to inhale the right arm open toward the ceiling, coming into another twist. So really open up through the collarbones here, reaching with that top hand. So again, oppositional energy, that bottom hand's pushing into the floor, that top hand is reaching skyward. One more big breath in here, and then exhale, release. We're going to hop that back foot in just slightly, a couple inches, and we're going to rise up into high lunge. Just take a couple moments here to find your grounding through the feet, that sense of stability. And then we're going to come into a side stretch. So again, the right hand is going to come around behind the back. You're going to inhale, lengthen through the left side, and then we're going to exhale and side bend over to the right. Again, try not to go forward. Try to keep the bend straight over to the right, almost like you're reaching your left fingers, the top hand, toward the back corner of the mat. You should feel a really nice stretch along the psoas area here. Couple breaths here. Then we'll take an inhale, release both arms up, stay in the lunge. I know the legs are getting tired, I feel it too. We're going to take the left hand to the back of the left leg. You're going to inhale, reach the right arm up, and we're going to come into a little back bend here. Don't think about going back as much as think about lifting the chest up. So it's a lift up and then maybe back. Good. And we'll release both hands up, big inhale, exhale both hands down to the floor, and let's step back to plank pose. Nice big breath in plank, big inhale, and then exhale, we're going to drop the knees and come all the way onto the belly. We're going to do a second version of cobra. So the legs are just like in regular cobra, strong and straight. Bring the fingers out to the side, so you're going to come up on the fingertips. Take a nice big inhale, lifting the chest and the head. We're just going to hold up here for a couple moments. Keep the legs really strong here. You want to counterbalance in the back body, and try not to let the shoulders come up by the ears. So really try to pull the shoulder blades down the back. One more nice big inhale here, and then exhale, release. Let's inhale up to the hands and the knees. Curl the toes and exhale back to down dog. Couple breaths here in down dog. And then we'll walk the feet up to the hands. Again, coming into forward fold. Let everything hang. Release the tension in the arms and the head or wherever it's crept in. And then with bent knees, slowly roll on up to standing. We'll do the whole thing on the other side. So now we're going to step the left foot forward and the right foot back, coming into low lunge on the second side. And again, hands can be on the knees Arms up, whatever feels most supportive for you. Find that initial pose, feel the strength in the legs. That little lift of the pubic bone up, and really reach through the fingers. So always looking for that oppositional energy. We're pressing down through the floor, through the knee and the foot, but we're reaching and expanding upward. Take another nice big inhale here. And then we're going to exhale, bring the left hand around behind the back. One more inhale, lengthening through the right side body. And then on the exhale, we're going to bring the hand to the outside of the knee, coming into our twist. And again, just breathe really big across the chest space. Maybe a little harder to breathe into the belly space on a twist. So we have to adjust the breath accordingly and not constrict it in any way. And again, you're looking back as far as is comfortable over that left shoulder. One more breath here. And then inhale, we'll release both arms up and exhale, hands to the floor. We'll curl the back toes under and lift the back knee up, coming into our runner's lunge. Taking a few moments here, strong through that back leg, really use that as a powerhouse back there. Then we'll plant the right hand down. Big inhale, left arm up, coming into a twist. So again, find that oppositional energy. The heels in one direction, the sternum is reaching in another direction, the hands are reaching in opposite directions. So you're really expanding outward through this pose. One more big inhale here, and then exhale, hand to the floor. We'll hop the back foot in slightly, and again, rising up into our high lunge. Taking a moment here just to get stable. And now again, left hand's going to come behind the back. We're going to inhale, lengthen through the right side body, and then exhale, we're going to side bend over to the left. Try not to lean forward. Imagine that that top hand is reaching back toward the back corner of the mat. And just breathe into this whole midriff, hip flexor area. And then on an inhale, we'll release both arms up, stay with it. I'm going to take the right hand to the back of the right thigh. Big inhale, lift up, 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 up. And then maybe you go back slightly. This is a little back bend, but think about creating upward space. And both arms up, big inhale, and exhale, hands to the floor. And let's step back to plank pose again. Nice big inhale here in plank. And exhale, drop to the knees, and let's push back to child's pose. So again, toes touching, knees wide, hips coming back to the heels. Let the head release fully down to the floor. Just take a couple moments here to notice the breath and feel what's happening with the breath, and try to find that string, that smooth string of breath. Just a couple more moments here, letting everything soften. Really feel the connection of the forehead to the floor. And then from here, again, we'll come up to the hands and the knees and all the way forward onto the belly again. We'll do that same version of Cobra. So legs really strong and straight, fingertips out to the side. Big inhale, lifting the chest. So you're really using the back muscles here. You don't have as much weight on the hands as in regular Cobra. Pull the shoulder blades down the back, create space between the shoulders and the ears. One more nice big inhale here, and then exhale, release. Just stack both hands, one on top of the other. Bring the forehead to the hands. Just rock the hips a little bit from side to side. Releasing any tension that may have crept into the back. And then from here, hands underneath the shoulders. Let's inhale up to the hands and the knees. Curl the toes and exhale back to down dog. Couple breaths here in your down dog. And then from here, you're going to inhale the right leg up toward the ceiling. And then on an exhale, we'll sweep it forward between the hands, rising up into warrior two. Take a couple moments here just to find the position through the legs. Again, that back leg really strong and straight. Push through that back heel. Find energy out through the arms. Put a softness through the shoulders. From here, we'll come to reverse warrior. So we'll inhale, reach forward with the front hand. And then exhale, come up and over. That back hand can come to the back thigh. Or maybe you want to hook it around behind the back. That's a little bit harder. This is more supportive with the hand on the thigh. So whatever feels nice for you. Stay bent into that front leg though. Don't pop out of it. And reach with the top arm. So again, create space through the ribs. From here, let's come back up to warrior two. We'll straighten the front leg and we'll move to triangle. So bump the hips back, reach out with that front hand, dropping it down, top arm coming up, finding your triangle. Let the head be relaxed. So whatever feels nice for you, you can look down to that bottom hand. You can look forward. Traditionally, it's taught looking up. I find that after a few minutes or a few moments, that feels a little crunky on the neck. So I'm a big fan of not creating extra tension in the neck space. Whatever feels nice for you. Find your breath though. Huge breath here. And we're going to come back through warrior two and into side angle. So forearm's going to come onto the front thigh. Top arm will come up and overhead. Again, really push through that back leg and reach oppositionally through the fingers. So one long line of energy. Try not to let the chest come forward. Try to open the chest toward the ceiling. And we'll inhale back to warrior two. And let's take this back arm up and over to the top of the mat, stepping back to downward facing dog. Couple breaths in down dog. And here we'll roll forward into plank pose. Big breath here in plank. Exhale, drop the knees, drop the chest, coming all the way onto the belly, coming into regular cobra, big inhale. And exhale, release. Inhaling back to the hands and the knees, curling toes and exhaling back to down dog. Again, child's pose is always an option for you if it feels like too much. From here, we'll inhale the left leg up toward the ceiling. And exhale, sweeping it forward, coming into warrior two on the second side. Just taking a moment to feel the strength in the legs, the softness in the upper body, and in the breath. Notice what the breath is doing. See if you can smooth it out and slow it down. We'll come to reverse warrior. So we're going to inhale, reach forward, and exhale, come up and over. Again, take the arm variation that feels nice for you. Hand can go behind the back. Big breath here. Really stretch and lengthen the ribs on the left side. Next inhale, we'll come back up and moving into triangle. So straighten the front leg, bump the hips toward the back heel, reach out. We want to create as much space on the left side here as possible, and then just drop the hand and top arm comes up. And again, finding the head variation that works for you. Really pull up through this front quad here and press through that back heel. And find a sense of openness across the chest here. Most importantly, find your breath. And from here, we'll come back through warrior two. Coming into side angle form on the thigh, top arm coming up and over, pressing through that back heel, lengthening through the arms, through the fingers, trying to rotate the chest slightly up toward the ceiling. Couple more breaths here. Stay with it. And from here, back through warrior two. Take that back arm up and over to the top of the mat. And again, stepping back to down dog. And one more slow vinyasa here. So inhale, coming forward to plank. Exhale, drop the knees and the chest all the way onto the belly. Inhale up into cobra, hug the elbows toward the ribs, strong through the legs, lifting the chest. And exhale, release. And again, up through the hands and the knees. And one more time, back into child's pose. Hips back to the heels. Let the head release down. Always taking these moments in child's pose as a rest. Part of the Hatha practice, Ha and Ta, sun and moon, energy and calming, they're oppositional energies, and I talk about that a lot in yoga. We need both sides of the opposition. So really take these moments of rest to integrate, feel the breath, feel the body, allow surrender to come in. Good. From here, come back up to the hands and the knees. Curl the toes and exhale back to down dog one more time. And then from here, let's walk the feet forward to the hands, coming into forward fold. Again, just let the torso hang, let the arms hang, let everything hang. Really let gravity help decompress the vertebrae, especially the neck area. And then with bent knees, we'll slowly roll on up to standing. And let's just do a moment of balancing here because that's always fun and good for us. So we're going to stand on the right leg and we're just bring the hands to the heart and we're going to bring the left knee up to the chest. Now, this might be enough for you and you're welcome to just practice this. Otherwise, we're going to move into what I call swan or warrior three variation. So we're going to bend the supporting leg. I'm going to take that left leg back. Arms are going to come alongside the body into this warrior three variation. And then see how smoothly and slowly you can transition back up to the knee to chest. And then gently stepping out of the pose. Okay, let's do the other side. So standing on the left leg, right knee to the chest. And then this is all about control. So if you fall out of it, no problem, but fall out of it with awareness and with control. So we're going to push the leg behind us, bend that supporting leg, bring the arms alongside the body, torso comes down, like warrior three, but with a bent supporting leg. Then very slowly, controlled, mindfully, bringing the knee back up to the chest and releasing the foot to the floor. Shake that out. Let's bring the feet wider than the hips, a little bend to the knees, and we're simply gonna swing back and forth. Just nothing more than a release of tension in the body. Really let the arms go. Don't try to control this. It's not about alignment or control. This is about letting go of the control that we just found. Good. From here, release that, and let's come onto the floor, onto your back, and we'll prepare for bridge pose. We're coming all the way onto the back, knees bent, feet pressed into the floor. If you can touch your fingertips to your heels, great. If that alignment doesn't quite work for you, that's totally okay, especially if you do have a knee problem. So finding the right alignment for your body is important. Find a little tuck to the tailbone under, and then a nice big inhale, lifting the hips up toward the ceiling. You can walk the shoulders underneath you. If you have the space in your shoulders, you can interlace the fingers behind you and underneath you. If that causes any distress in the shoulder area, don't do it. It's not necessary. And then you're just breathing really big up into the belly and chest. Feet are pressing down. Find a little isometric pull, like you're trying to tug your heels back toward your shoulders. That just helps engage the hamstrings a little bit more. Imagine your tailbone is moving toward your knees. Take a nice big inhale here, lift a little bit higher. And then exhale, gently release the hips to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees open. And bring one hand to the belly and one hand up to the chest. Use this pose here to notice the breath. Try to find that slow, controlled belly breath. So you have one hand on the belly. That's the hand that should be moving primarily as you're breathing. The hand that's up underneath, that's touching the chest. See a little bit movement up there, but it should be very little in comparison to the belly. Let's take a few moments here, staying connected to the breath. Trying to slow it down. So your exhales should be always through the yoga practice, 1 or 2 counts longer than the inhales, unless you're doing a particular pranayama and being directed otherwise. Let's keep the nervous system in that state of calm. And from here, bring the hands to the outsides of the thighs and gently help the knees together. And let's hug both knees up to the chest. And you can just rock a little bit from side to side. Just let that feel really nice. And from here, you're going to keep the left knee hugged up to the chest and extend the right leg out along the mat. So as you hug the left knee up, the tailbone will naturally want to tuck up a little bit more. Let that happen. And then once you found your endpoint there, see if you can extend through the right leg a little bit more. Just create some space through that right midriff and top of thigh area. And again, just stay connected to the breath here. Eyes closed so that you can feel. When we close the eyes, we shut down the visual cortex. And even if there's nothing to look at, you're just looking at a blank ceiling. When we close off the visual input, the other senses get heightened. And we want this in the yoga practice. We want to feel and perceive, create deeper awareness of what's happening in the body. So from here, we're going to come into a twist. So keep the left knee up toward the chest, but extend the arms out to the left and the right. Take a nice big inhale, and then on the exhale, we'll cross that left knee across the body over to the right side, coming into a laying down twist here. And if the knee doesn't come all the way to the floor, no problem. The twists in my body are not easy on my spine. So as long as the foot's on the floor, that's great. That left shoulder may pop off the floor a little bit. That's okay too. Wherever your body is, be with it. Just let the breath be really big here. Even if that left shoulder is slightly off the floor, let the shoulders have a feeling of weight to them and groundedness to them. Just letting the pose together with the breath do all the work here. There's no effort here other than to be in the pose and to try to soften into it. And then in your next inhale, come back to center. We're going to take that left foot and come into reclining pigeon. So cross the left foot over the right knee. Hug the right thigh up to the chest. And feeling the stretch in the left hip area, but using this pose today as a release for the back muscles. We did a lot of back bendy kind of stuff. So just feel the whole low back open and spread against the floor. So notice that contact. See if you can feel the breath coming into those muscles. And noticing where has effort or tension crept in where it doesn't need to be. So maybe in the jaw area, facial muscles. So always discerning where we need effort and where we need ease. That same idea of oppositional energies. That is the purpose of yoga, to bring all of that together into union. Let's release reclining pigeon. We'll do that whole thing on the other side. So the right knee will come up to the chest. Left leg will extend out along the mat. Really hug that right knee up. Notice that the tailbone will tuck up slightly. Don't force it, just however it naturally comes. And then find a little bit of length through that left leg. Sometimes people really feel a stretch across the top of the hip area and in the midriff area. Sometimes not so much, but whether you feel it or not, just know this is a really nice release and opening of the psoas, which is a really big muscle that connects the upper body and lower body. It's also a muscle that gets really, really tight for a lot of us in our culture where we do a lot of sitting. And of course, if you feel this in the right hip area, take the breath into that space as well. And then from here, we'll come into our twist. So keep the right knee up toward the chest. Just bring the arms straight out to the left and the right. Start with a nice big inhale. And then on the exhale, drop the knee across the body over to the left, coming into the twist. And again, wherever your body lands, just let it be there and let go. So in this part of the Hatha practice, we're starting to unwind. We're starting to find that element of surrender on a deeper level. More of the ta part of the practice, the cooling, the releasing, softening. So really let that happen through the breath here. A couple more moments. Again, the right shoulder may have popped off the floor a little bit, no problem. Still trying to maintain that energetic feeling of heaviness across the shoulders, even if it's not on the floor. You can still embody that feeling of groundedness. And then from here, we'll gently bring the knee back up toward the chest, and then we'll come to reclining pigeon on this side. So crossing the right ankle over the left knee, pulling the left thigh up to the chest. And just be here and breathe. Again, if the eyes aren't closed, try closing them and just notice how that shifts your awareness and your perception of what's happening in the body. And again, connecting to the exhales. Use these stretching poses to dive into how long can you make the exhales. We get to a point when we practice this breath on a regular basis where the exhales can be twice as long as the inhales. So hold that idea in your mind. You don't have to be there. But something that you're working towards, because it has a direct calming effect on the nervous system. It's like the switch that we can direct with our own nervous system, which is a beautiful tool. And let's gently release that. Hug both knees to the chest. Let's just do some circles. So you can do, you have a choice here. You can take both knees clockwise and counterclockwise, or if you know the oppositional circles that I teach sometimes where each knee is moving in the opposite direction. So creating two different circles. So whatever feels nice for you. This doesn't have to be about any kind of alignment. This is just about releasing any last bits of tension. And then find some stillness. Again, hugging the knees up as tight as you can. Bring the forehead up to the knees, curling yourself into a nice tight little ball. Tighter, tighter, tighter. Really pull the forehead up as much as you can. And then let's release out into Shavasana. So before you get too settled into your Shavasana, bring the feet fairly wide. You want them to be nice and wide. And then your glute muscles, see if you can move the glutes toward your heel. So you're lengthening the tailbone, creating space in the low back. The arms are fairly far away from the body, and then scoot the shoulder blades underneath you ever so slightly, just to create a little bit of openness across the chest. And then let's take a really big full breath in through the belly, and then out through the mouth. Just release and let it all go. So connecting to this idea of surrendering. This is arguably one of the most important poses in the yoga practice, Shavasana. Let the body get really heavy. So take a moment just to notice and feel the floor underneath you. Feel your connectivity to the floor. Metaphorically, it's the earth. It's full grounding, full releasing, full surrender into the earth. And the surrendering doesn't happen all at once. It's a process. There are layers and layers and layers of letting go. So that initial release is usually quite easy to feel. But it's in the subsequent moments, it's in the stillness and in the quiet that we begin to discern and begin to feel and begin to notice those deeper layers letting go. So try to tune into that. See if there are any places where you're subconsciously still holding tension, maybe in the glute area or the calves, in the belly space, the shoulders, jaw. Even in the forehead, try to let the forehead space relax. This idea of consciously letting go, consciously surrendering. It's a really important space, and one that we don't ever have the opportunity to cultivate in our day-to-day life. We're consciously letting go of all the doing, whether it's physical or mental. We're coming into a space of just being. What does that feel like to let go of doing and just be? It's unfamiliar for a lot of us. Spend the next minute observing what that space of being, of non-doing, what does that feel like? And from here, gently begin to deepen the breath. Keep it soft. Just find a little bit deeper of an inhale. Soft, slow exhale. Breathing with a sense of renewal and rejuvenation. Just bringing fresh, new breath and oxygen and prana into the body. Breathe in such a way like you're delivering that to every cell in your body, that sense of rejuvenation, lightness, renewal. And let's wake up the physical body a little bit by just bringing in a little bit of movement to the fingers and the toes. Just gentle, soft movement. And then we'll come into a nice big stretch. Take the arms up and overhead. Really stretching through the feet, stretching through the arms. Huge inhale here. And then exhale, gently releasing. And then slowly rolling to your left side. Taking a few moments in fetal position on the left. Still noticing that breath moving in and out of the body. Still feeling the floor underneath you. And then trying to use as little energy as possible. Gently push yourself upright to a seated position. Keep the eyes closed for this last moment here. Find a seat with a nice tall spine. Bring the hands together at the heart center. Physically connecting the thumbs to the chest. Metaphorically connecting your prayer, or whatever words you like, your dreams, your hopes, your wishes. Whatever you want from this life, connect that to the heart space. Knowing that that's what this yoga practice is doing for us. It's cultivating our connection to this deep intuitive source, this deep source of knowing. It will always steer us in the right direction. Very different from the knowing in the mind. That's intellect. The heart space is wisdom. So with that in mind, let's take our final inhale of class together. And then exhale, bowing forward together in deep gratitude. Namaste. All right, everybody. Yay. Good to see you guys. As always, I'm so happy to get to kind of interface with people since we're all still in our houses here. But yeah, thanks for joining, you guys. I'm really happy to see all of you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, you're so welcome.